If you've ever dreamed about someone in a wedding dress, you might assume it means marriage. But in fact, it probably means that they're about to step into a whole new season. I had a dream about my best friend 6 years ago. In this dream, she was wearing the most glorious wedding dress. And now, today, she is actually walking out that season shift. So oftentimes, wedding symbols are actually referencing like seasons and not marriage. And that is a huge common misconception when you're seeing that in your dreams. So the wedding dress or the wedding garments can represent commitment seasons. It can also represent identity changes, covenant transitions, maturing seasons, and preparation seasons. A lot of this is really going to apply to the dream that I share with you today about my best friend's what I call wedding dress season. That's why in dreams, the clothing that you're wearing is often representing the season that you're in or about to go into in the future. And most of the time, a wedding dress does not mean romance. It means transformation. Because think about it, when you get married, you have an entire identity change. You walk into that ceremony one person, and you walk out of that ceremony a completely different person. Today, I am going to give you a prime example of what a wedding dress can mean in your dreams. And it's huge, guys, huge. But first, I want to talk to those that are new here. My name's Nicole, and I am a firm believer that your dreams at night are helping to decode your future. I am passionate about helping people learn the symbols in their dreams and how to break them down to get meaning out of what's happening in their nightlife. So if this is a conversation that you like, please hit the like button and subscribe so that you know when a new video comes out, and you're helping me tell the algorithm that people like you like content like this, and I greatly appreciate that. Remember that feelings matter more in the dream than the symbols themselves, because the symbols will change based on what message is trying to be conveyed. But the feeling is the key that will tell you what the message is trying to convey. This dream that I'm going to share, the symbol of the wedding dress itself was amazing, huge, and revelatory. But the feelings around the entire process from beginning to end, and it's not a long dream, but the feelings in it were a mystery for so long until this year when we actually see not only her, but me start to walk out this wedding dress season. Here's a few things that you can look at when you see a wedding dress in your dream. Does it feel joyful? If so, then it's probably representing a celebratory season coming. Does it feel heavy? Well, then it might be about preparation that is coming. Or does it feel more serious? And then it can be maybe like a responsibility change or taking on a new responsibility. I had this dream about my best friend in June of 2020. And what's kind of funny about it is that we understood that this was, and you'll see why in just a moment, that this was going to be a preparatory season for her. And then every year for 6 years, I kept telling her, "Oh, this is your wedding dress season. I know it." And she'd be like, "Nicole, this doesn't feel like my wedding dress season. I don't think it is." To the point where she stopped believing me until this year. It was so evident. It is so evident in how her life is, just the challenges she's facing right now, and I'll explain that in a minute, that she actually not only believes me, she agrees that she is walking in her wedding dress season. And what's so fascinating about this is that you're going to see that the dream focuses in on her, but then I have these kind of weird parts in it myself. And it is now reflected in what's happening in my life while she's walking out her wedding dress season. All right. There was a huge wedding. It was Angela's, and she looked stunning. Her hair was pulled up in a loose bun, and her white wedding dress was full of diamonds and clear jewelry. It was the most beautiful wedding dress I had ever seen. She was slender and confident and peaceful and joyful as she worked at the table inside the church. We were at a chapel, steeple type looking church, and it was a bright, beautiful day. I was the maid of honor, and I had a long, sleek, silk type evening gown on. possibly purple or a mix of purple and maroon type color. I also have long elbow length gloves on. We were inside preparing for the ceremony with a lot of people. The feeling was so happy. Then I'm suddenly outside the church with all of the guests right at the church front doors. In fact, there were people milling about outside of the doors, and I noticed one particularly tall woman, and I note how tall she is, and another tall woman who isn't quite as tall as the first makes a lighthearted comment that it's rare for her to see someone taller than herself. I'm with Kevin and I ask him if my gloves are appropriate or should I take them off. He looks thoughtfully and says to leave them on. But I'm still not totally convinced they're appropriate or even that he thinks they're appropriate. All the guests are dressed in spring attire with light pastel colors. This was a vivid dream, a vivid dream. Now, that's why it stuck with me. I sent it to Angela immediately. In fact, we've been talking about it a lot this week because of what she's walking out in reality. And she had me resend it to her today or yesterday. Now, there's some key differences here. So this is a joyful occasion, but with respect to her privacy, I'm going to kind of break down the reality of what's happening as she walks out her wedding dress season. Look at the stark differences. First, her wedding dress is stunning. I can see it in my mind's eye till this day. That is how stunning. It was full from top to bottom of diamonds and jewels. Now, she was at work, joyful and peaceful inside the church. Now, look at the stark difference. I am the maid of honor, but I am in what looks like evening attire, basically, as if she's having an evening wedding. But when you look at the remainder of the symbols in the dream, it's spring, it's the bright of day. Everyone else, when we go outside, is in spring colors. So the sometimes in your dreams, you want to look at the differentiation of what's happening. And what this shows is my purple maroon outfit and my gloves. They're actually really critical at the end of this dream. And I'll walk you through how. It shows that she and I are walking out critical transitionary seasons together at the same time, but very different looking circumstances. And that is really true right now as we walk it out together in our friendship. Now, here is I want to concentrate first on the wedding dress itself. That's the first part of the dream inside the building, inside the church. So it's showing that her season is going just it is what do you do with diamonds, right? How do diamonds become the beautiful creatures that they are? They have to go through an incredibly hard cutting, refining process. That is revelatory to what her actual wedding dress season looks like. So I would love to sit here right now and tell you that Angela is blissfully happy right now. She is just floating through her wedding dress season, but it's not true. It is the hardest season I have seen her walk through in our entire 8-year relationship. It is painful for me as her best friend to watch her walk this out. However, number one, she's incredibly strong. And that is what a diamond is, right? What's happening is this refining process that she is choosing to walk out. She's not walking away from it. She's not numbing herself. She's at the table. See the metaphor? She's at the table doing the work. Now, the fact that the feelings in the dream are joyful, that sounds opposite to what I normally tell you, but the connotation is that right now it feels impossibly hard for her to continue on this journey in this wedding dress season. And it does. It feels impossibly hard for her. And even me as her best friend, I want to make it stop. But the dream shows that it is going to produce in her, she's inside the church. The church is actually representing her. It is going to produce inside her the strongest substance on the earth, which is a diamond. As she walks this out through to completion, not only will she be beautiful and strong in spirit, she will have that abiding joy that we are all looking for. The result will be strength, resilience, and abiding joy. There will be celebration on the other end of her wedding dress season. So today it feels awful. Today it feels impossible. But because she has a vision from this dream that I had for her, this is why it's important that when you have a dream for someone else that you share it. I, 6 years ago almost, had this dream for her. She's holding on to it, plus many other dreams. So this is often true as well. When you start to really steward your dreams and you're going through a hard season, you start going through your own wedding dress season, you're going to receive many more dreams to help you navigate through it. And she is. She is receiving many dreams that are showing her, breathe. This is headed in the right direction. You can do this and you will be successful. You will be victorious. And the dream was a preparation for that, of how beautiful, stunning she was at the end of in this dream is what she will be at the end of this process. Okay, now let's look at, now we're outside of the building. So maybe outside of Angela's heart and her soul. Now, this is spring, and we are currently in spring. And that's what I kind of understood it would be for the last 6 years, that it would be an actual springtime that this happens. And that is represented in the attire that everyone is wearing. But remember, I am wearing nightwear. Like, I am evening gown with long sleeves, long gloves, which is not something that you would wear to a spring wedding, right? This represents that my season of transition during her wedding dress season looks very, very different. It's deeper. It's a deeper color and therefore a deeper layer of transition for me. And this is true. I have already had a wedding dress season in my life. It was close to the beginning of when I met Angela. It was probably around 2020. It also felt impossible to get through and also produced diamonds in me. So I'm not in a wedding dress season, but I am in something deeper. It's like the next layer of what is happening in my life. Beautiful, but darker and deeper. Does that make sense? Now, the gloves and Kevin. These are two really important parts. I have had many dreams with Kevin. He's a wonderful man in my life. He's a very important friend to me. In the dream, because he has been in many, and I've referenced this before, when you see the same person, like my Misty season, when you see the same person in your dreams, you kind of need to bring them all into one Word document and begin to look at what is the theme in the dreams that this person is showing up in. And because for a long time I didn't have the sequence, and nor was I walking in Angela's wedding dress season yet, I was like, what the heck does Kevin mean? So now, now that I'm in this season and I've seen how many dreams I've had with Kevin, it's funny. I love the name Kevin. If you break down the name Kevin, it is very simple. It is handsome or very good looking one. It's not the coolest name. I told him that the other day. I was like, did you know your name means handsome or very good looking? So that's the name meaning for him. And Kevin actually represents something in my life, a repeated theme, a repeated thing in my life. So what that's showing is I have gloves on straight up to my elbows. Why do gloves matter? They make you care. You put on gloves either for comfort and protection, or you put on gloves for carefulness, right? So you're handling something fragile, right? When you are dealing with pictures, you put gloves on before you touch them so your oil doesn't ruin it. When you're dealing with precious items, you put gloves on so the oils from your hands don't impact that precious item. That's what I have on. Wow, guess what? Now it's time to take the gloves off. And that's what I love about this. So I can take Angela's season and I can look at what it said to me. I'm like, okay, this is now the season that I should take the gloves off. And who Kevin represents to me is saying, no, leave those gloves on. But in fact, I remember the feeling in the dream. The feeling in the dream was I recognized that he was just being polite, or really inside knew that the gloves were not appropriate to be wearing outside in the spring with all of this pastel colors, and that they should come off. And he was like, no, it's okay. It's okay. You can leave them on. It's not time to leave them on. And that was critical and is critical information for me. And I'm going to break that down for you. Glove, this is where euphemisms or those idioms come into play. Taking gloves off, or when someone says taking the gloves off, what does that mean? Here's the actual definition that I just Googled. To stop acting with restraint, courtesy, or politeness, and to begin fighting, arguing, or competing as aggressively and intensely as possible. That's pretty strong language. So what it's showing is that in this season, it's time to get real. It's time to take off the gloves and stop being overly careful. Now, I'm not saying that it's time for me to become rude. I'm saying overly careful and instead be real. This is a time for me to step into who I am and to be real. I'm taking the gloves off. That was incredibly revelatory. This was a preparatory dream. This was a preparatory dream for my best friend. And it also had critical information for me that told me it lined up with her wedding dress season. Preparation dreams often feel very important. They stay with you. Like I told you, for 6 years, I kept telling her that it was going to be her wedding dress season until it actually was. Here's what's really important. Preparatory dreams often don't make sense right away. And overall, we got an understanding of what the dream was saying and that it was going to be very good. But so many of the meanings didn't make any sense until now, when we're both walking out these seasons side by side. What preparatory dreams are meant for is to strengthen you, to prepare you, but to strengthen you emotionally to make it through the season that dream is pointing you towards. This dream did not just show what was going to happen. It showed how to prepare her heart and stay in the game when it happened. If you made it all the way through to the end of this episode, thank you so much for watching. I love talking about dreams, and I hope you enjoyed it too. If you did, hit the subscribe button, because this channel is only here because of you. And if you want to dive deeper into your own dreams, I have a free community for that. See the link below.